I robot, Isaac Asimov. Cutie shook his head gravely. This amount to an obsession. I should insist so on the absolutely false view of life. Admit the non-robot lacked the reasoning faculty. There is still a problem of... His voice died into reflective silence, and Donovan said with whispered intensity, "If we only had a flesh and blood face, I would break it in." Powell's fingers were in his mustache and his eyes were slitty. "Listen, cutie, if there is no such a thing as us, how do you account for what you see through a telescope?" "Pardon me?" The horseman smiled. "I've got you, yeah? You've made quite a few telescopic observations since being put together, cutie. Have you noticed that several of those specks of light outside become disc and so viewed?" "Oh, that? Why, certainly. It's simple magnification for the purpose of more exact aiming of the beam." "Why aren't the stars equally magnified then?" "You mean the other dot? Well, no beam goes to them, so no magnification is necessary." "Really, Powell? Even you ought to be able to figure these things out." Powell started quickly aboard. "But you see more stars through a telescope. Where do they come from?" "Jumping Jupiter? Where do they come from?" Cutie was annoyed. "Listen, Powell, do you think I am going to waste my time trying to pin physical interpretation upon every optical illusion of our instrumental? Since when is the evidence of our sense any match for the clear light of a rigged region?" "Look," clamored Donovan suddenly, riding out from under Cutie's friendly but metal-heavy arm. "That goes to the nerve of the thing. Why the beams at all? You are giving you a good logical explanation. Can you do better?" "The beams," was stiff reply, "are put out by the master for his own purpose. There are some things," he raised his eyes devoutly above, "that are not to be probed into by us. In this matter, I seek only to solve and not to question." Powell sat down slowly and buried his face in shaking hands. "Get out of here, cutie. Get out, and let me think." "I'll send it," said Cutie agreeably. A groan was the only answer, and the robot left. "Greg," was Donovan's husky, whispered observation, "this calls for strategy. You've got to get him when he isn't expecting it, and short-circuit him. Concentrated nitric acid in his joint. Don't beat up, Mike. Do you suppose he's going to let us get near him any acid into our hands? You've got to talk to him. I'll tell you, you've got to argue him into letting us back into a control room inside 48 hours, or our goods is broiled to a crisp." He rocked back and paused in the agony. Importance. What the heck want to argue with the robot? It's mortifying, finished Donovan. "Was." Say, Donovan laughed widely. "Why argue? Let's show him. Let's build us another robot right before his eyes. He'll have to eat his word then." A slowly widening smile approached on Powell's face. Donovan continued, "And think of that screwball's face when we see us do it. Robots are of course manufactured on Earth, but their shipment through space is much simpler if it can be done in part to be put together at their place to use. It also incidentally eliminates the possibility of a robot in complete adjustment wandering off while still on Earth, and thus bringing US robotics face to face with the strict rules against robot on Earth." Still, it placed upon men such as Powell and Donovan the necessity of synthesis of complete robot, grievous and complicated task. Powell and Donovan were never so aware of that fact as upon the particular day when, in the assembly room, they undertook to create a robot under the watchful eyes of QT1, prophet of the master. The robot in question, a simple MC model, lay upon a table almost complete, 3 hours work left Omni, the head undone, and Powell paused the swab his forehead and glanced uncertainty at QT. The glance was not a reassuring one. For 3 hours, QT had sat speechless and motionless, and his face, inexpressive at all times, was now absolutely unreadable. Powell groaned. "Let's get the brain now, Mike." Donovan uncapped the tightly sealed container, and from the oil bath, he withdrew a second cube. Opening this in turn, he removed the glove from its spongy rubber casing. He handled it in gingerly, for it was the most complicated mechanism ever created by man. Inside the thin, platinum-plated skin of the glove was the positronic brain, in whose delicately unstable structure were imposed calculated neuronic paths, which imbued which robot with that amount to a prenatal education. It peeled snugly into the cavity into the skull of the robot on the table. Blue metal closed over it and was welded tightly by the tiny atomic flare. Photoelectronic eyes were attached carefully, screwed tightly into place, and covered by thin, transparent sheet of steel hard plastic. The robot awaited only the vitalizing flash of high voltage electricity, and Powell forced his hand on the switch. "Now, watch this, QT. Watch this carefully." The switch rammed home, and there was a cracking home. The two Earthmen bent anxiously over their creation. There was a vague motion only at the outset, a twitching of the joint, the head lift, the elbow propped it up, and the MC model swinging clumsily off the table. The footing was unsteady, and twice of subtle grating sound were all it could do in the direction of speech. Finally, its voice, uncertain and hesitant, took form. "I would like to start work. Where must I go?" Donovan sprang to the door. "Down these stairs," he said. "You will be told what to do." The MC model was gone, and two Earthmen were alone with the still unmoving QT. "Well," said Powell, grinning, "now do you believe that we made you?" QT's answer was curt and final. "No," he said. Powell's grin froze, and then relaxed slowly. Donovan's mouth dropped open and remained so. "You see," continued QT easily, "you have merely put together parts already made. You did remarkably well, instinct, I suppose, but you didn't really create the robot. The parts were created by the master." "Listen," gasped Donovan hoarsely. "Those parts were manufactured back on Earth and sent here." Well, replied QT smoothly, "we won't argue." "No, I mean it." The Earthman sprang forward and grasped the robot's metal arm. "If we were to read the books in the library, you could explain so that there could be no possible doubt." "The books? I've read them. All of them. They are most ingenious." Powell broke in suddenly. If you read them, what else is there to say? You can't dispute their evidence. You just can't." There was a pity in QT's voice. "Please, Powell, I certainly don't consider them a valid source of information. They, too, were created by the master and were meant for you, not for me. How do you make that out? Demanded Pavel. Because I, a reasoning being, I am capable of deducting truth from a priori causes. You being intelligent but unreasoning need an explanation of existence supplied to you, and this the master did. That he supplied you did these adaptable ideas of powerful words and people is no doubt for the best. Your minds are probably too coarsely grained for absolute truth. However, since it's the master's will that you believe your books, I won't argue with you anymore. As he left, he turned and said in kindly tone, "But don't feel badly. In the master's scheme of things, there is room for all. You, poor humans, have your place, and though it's humble, you will be rewarded if you feel it well." He departed with a beautiful air, shooting the profit of the master, and the two humans avoided each other's eyes. Finally, Pavel spoke with an effort. "Let's go to bed, Mike. I give up." Donovan said in hushed voice, "Say, Greg, you don't suppose he's right above all this, do you? He sounds so confident that I, Pavel, whirled on him. Don't be a fool. We'll find out whether us exists, and relief gets here next week, and you have to go back to face the music. Then, for the love of the Jupiter, if you got to do something." Donovan was half in tears. "He doesn't believe us, or the books, or his eyes." "No," said Powell bitterly. "He's a reasoning robot, damn it. He believes only reason, and there's one trouble is that—" His voice trailed away. "What's that?" prompted Donovan. "You can prove anything you want by coldly logical reason. If you pick the proper postulate, you have ours, and QT has his. Then, let's get those postulated in a hurry. The storm's due tomorrow." Powell sighed wearily. "That's where everything falls down. Postulates are based on assumption and adhered to by pace. Nothing in the universe can shake them. I'm going to bed." "Oh hell, I can't sleep." "Neither can I, but I might as well try, as a matter of principle."